Hey everyone, so today I'm telling you the story of how I got started modeling. I just have to say this first. I actually had filmed like a full brow tutorial, like how I tweeze my brows, the trick that I use to do them, like how I draw them on, and my files got completely corrupted. So I'm like, you know what, I really wanted to do the brow video showing you guys how I tweeze my brows, because that is a big part of how I shape my brows and make them look the way that they do. And I didn't want to just like put out just the makeup part of it, so I have to wait until my brows grow out because you can't exactly tweeze your brows twice. So I figured, okay, what's another video that I can do that you guys have requested before? And I like a light went off in my head. I was like, oh, this one, modeling, how I started modeling. So to give you some references, those of you who are new or may not know this, I currently model with Elite Model Management in New York and Miami, and I also have a modeling agency in Paris called The Face. I've been modeling in New York for the past 3-ish years. I think it's coming up on like the 3-year mark. I've worked for places like Aerie, I've worked for Gap, I've worked for J. Crew internally, which everyone there is so nice. You guys, it literally makes me want to buy clothes there so much more. Madewell as well. It's like sort of the same crew. Actually, it's funny too because I've done a few maternity things, and every once in a while I'll get a snap from someone who's seen me in like motherhood maternity or something like that, and they're like, oh my god, I didn't know you're pregnant, and I'm like, no, not pregnant. Let's get started on the actual story. To start at the beginning, I have to go a little bit further back than when I just first started modeling. Before I started modeling, I was training as a ballet dancer. That was like my dream. I wanted to be a ballerina. I loved being on stage and performing and just that rush of acting as whatever role I was put in. It was just such a thrill to me, and it made me so happy. I wasn't considered the best dancer, but it was something that I enjoyed, so I kept doing it for as long as I did it. What had happened is I had gotten this solo in the Nutcracker, and it was called Star, and it was something that I had wanted to do. I really liked the solo for whatever reason. Basically, the star had like fallen off the Christmas tree during the battle scene, and she helps the soldiers defeat the mice and helps Clara and the Nutcracker defeat the Mouse King. I was rehearsing this part as the star. I had gotten brand new pointe shoes. It was on newish marley on the floor, which is that black dance floor that dancers dance on, so it's not quite as slippery as something like hardwood. I was doing my solo, rehearsing it, and I had just slipped over on my pointe shoe when I was doing a arabesque forte, and for whatever reason I just did not put my arms down to catch myself on the floor. I just thought I would like gracefully fall down. In my head, I don't know what I was thinking, you know, it's one of those things in the moment. It was almost going in slow motion for me. I hit my head on the floor. I don't remember anything else after that. I just woke up to a few people like standing above me. It was like one of those moments you see in cartoons or movies or something where someone passes out and then like they come to and there's people standing over them. When I was younger, I always thought that was the coolest thing. When you wake up, you're like, oh no, poor me, and then like when it actually happens to you, you're like, oh god, I'm so embarrassed, this is so embarrassing. And apparently my head had bounced off the floor a couple of times, but I passed out on the first hit, so I didn't feel any of that. And I was bleeding. I don't know if you can see my scar, but I have like a little scar down under my chin from when I fell. So basically after that, I was feeling really dizzy and really like woozy. So I called my parents. I was like, Mom, I think I need to go to the ER. My chin is still bleeding. It had been bleeding for like an hour. So they took me to the ER to get my head checked out, and I got stitches. They did a scan on me, and they were like, oh yeah, you're completely fine, you're overreacting, just go on doing whatever. And so I was like, okay, I don't have a concussion, that's great, whatever. Got my stitches done. I have to say, this is turning into like a long story, but before the woman stuck the needle in my face to do my stitches, she's like, oh, this is the first time I've done this on a human. Jab, and of course like blood squirts out. I was like, ah! But you can barely, you like can't see a scar at all, so she did an amazing job for her first time. So that evening I went home and I went to bed, and I slept for probably like 12 hours because I was so exhausted. And the next day I wake up, I was assistant teaching a ballet class with another girl at my dance studio, and she was like, Jessica, what is wrong with you? You were acting like you're drunk. And I was feeling kind of like dizzy and woozy, and like my vision was kind of blurred and everything. And so I called my parents up to bring me home, and long story short, I could make this really, really long, but basically I had a concussion, and because I kept dancing for those couple of weeks before I saw the neurologist, it got worse, which turned into post-concussive syndrome, and there was petit mal seizure activity in my brain. But basically that had happened, I think, in November of, I forget what year, and then the following year in August was when I could start doing physical activity again. So I quit dance. I was going stir crazy, so my parents were like, all right, let's put her in some acting classes in Boston, just something to get her out of the house. So when I was at these acting classes, they were like, oh, you should send some pictures into this modeling agency in Boston. And I was like, oh, I don't know, I don't think I could do that. That's kind of silly. It had been a few months since then, and I was like, you know what, let me just bring some pictures in, just see what happens. And so I had my mom take some pictures of me outside of my house, like in front of my garage or something like that. We brought those pictures in to the modeling agency in Boston. It was called Maggie Inc. They signed me, and I didn't work for like the first couple of months. I did like a runway show in Boston for like Charlotte Ronson, I think. Once I had turned 18, a few months later, I had started working a lot more in Boston. You know, there was Rue La La, which is one of those flash sale sites. I worked for them a lot, and random like Boston magazines or wedding magazines or the other little jobs. So I was like, you know what, I'm doing well in Boston, let me see if I can try New York. I went to Maggie's and I said, I want to try New York, I want to see if I can get an agency there. So they were like, okay, if you want to try, we'll send your picture into some of these agencies, get you meetings, and try. It came to the time where I was in New York and I was going to all these meetings. I went to Elite, I went to DNA, I went to Soul, I went to a couple of other ones, and they all said no. I went back to Massachusetts, and I was pretty sad for a while, but I was like, you know what, okay, everything happens for a reason. You know, there was a reason why everyone said no at that time, and the reason that they had said no was because I wasn't thin enough, and I was not healthy at the time. I did not eat well, I did not eat a lot of vegetables, I kind of just ate a lot of junk and a lot of stuff that was not good for my body because I wasn't in a good headspace either. I wasn't comfortable with myself as a person, and I wasn't happy. So fast forward a few more months, and I met my boyfriend Eric. He was very healthy, he had done sports in college, and he ate very, very clean, almost no sweets, you know, that sort of thing. That was kind of a shock for me because I didn't eat like that at all, and he sort of helped me turn my eating habits into something that was better for my body, and it sort of opened my eyes up to how badly I was treating my body and how badly my habits were with my eating, because I would get insecure about my weight, and then I would binge eat, and it was just not doing anything good for my body. He really helped me get the ball rolling to be where I am now, comfortable with my body and putting good food into it and working out. And I can tell you, I eat a lot more now than I did back then, but I am thinner now just because of what I eat. And I think that had I gotten signed that first time, I would have fallen into the trap that a lot of young models get pulled into with the eating disorders. And that's a big thing. Like, a lot of people think, all right, in order to make my body look good, I need to lose weight. No, you just need to get healthy, and your body will go into what it is supposed to look like. You're not supposed to look like Candace Swampole. You know what I mean? Not everybody's body is shaped like that. My body will never ever look like hers, just because of how my body is shaped, and I'm okay with that. I'm healthy, you know. I am at a point where I have abs, I have muscles on my body that I did not have before because I didn't eat well enough to have muscles. I had met Eric in September. We started dating in October. Fast forward, I think Eric and I had been together for 6 months at this point. I was like, I want to try New York again because I was so much more healthy and I'm in a better headspace. I want to try it again. And he was like, I want to move to New York too, because he had just gotten signed with Ford Model Management, I believe. So we're like, all right, let's do it. Let's move to New York after dating for 6 months. And everyone was like, you know what? It's not going to work out. You're not going to stay together. It's going to be really, really hard on you. And I was like, so my gut is telling me to do it, so I'm going to do it. So we moved to New York, and we were there for 2 weeks, He ended up getting dropped by his agency, and I had talked to Maggie again, and I asked if they could send me to agencies again so that I could see if I could get signed in New York. I ended up getting signed with Elite. Everyone was so sweet when I first met them. It's a very odd thing when you go in to meet with an agency, because you go in and you'll talk with a few people and then you'll get some pictures taken and they'll measure you. And they had apparently called Maggie right after I had left and said that they wanted to sign me. I forget exactly what day it was, but I think it was either a Monday or a Tuesday when I talked to Maggie's and said yes, I wanted to sign with Elite. And I got an email from Elite saying, oh, you have your first job. It's at Coach. It's an internal thing showing off their new clothing line. So I had gotten this job before I had even signed the contract, and I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Is this normal? What are the chances of this happening? And I just knew from that moment on that this was the agency that was going to work for me and that I was going to grow with as a person and as a model. You don't need to go into a modeling agency with all professional pictures or all perfect pictures of you. You can go in with just a few pictures of what you look like that your mom takes or your best friend takes or your boyfriend or whoever. Moving to New York can be hard. Modeling is not for everyone. I get a lot of messages from people saying oh, I want to move to New York and I want to model. But modeling is not glamorous. It's not what you see. Not every person is going to be a Victoria's Secret model or walk and runway shows or work, and you're constantly getting compared to other girls. You walk in a room and there's 100 other girls who are tall and brunette and slim and beautiful, and you think, what makes me any different from these other 100 girls? And I feel like you really realize one of two things. You either get really down and really insecure about it, and I definitely have my days where I have moods like that, but you can choose to think, okay, what makes me so different from these girls? It's my personality. If the only thing setting me apart from all these other people is that I can make someone laugh or I can make someone smile, then that is the thing that I want to set me apart from all these other girls. I don't want to be the most gorgeous one. I don't want to be the thinnest one. I want to be the friendliest one. This is hard for me to talk about. It brings back a lot of emotions and a lot of the harder times. Wow, it really makes me realize how far I've come. Oh my god, I didn't think I was going to get emotional doing this. I thought that this would just be easy to talk about. Okay, so I guess basically to sum up the whole story, I danced. I got a concussion while I was dancing. Couldn't do any physical activity for almost a year, so I was going stir crazy. So I took some acting classes, which led me into a local modeling agency in Massachusetts, which led me into New York eventually. And now I am very extremely blessed to have worked with the people that I've worked with and shot at the shoots that I've shot at, and not ever had been pressured to do anything that I didn't want to do or do anything that I was uncomfortable doing. And I'm lucky enough to be able to support myself on it, but that is not necessarily the case for everyone. I've heard horrendous horror stories from multiple people. You just have to remember that if this is something that you find yourself falling into, that you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. But oh god, I wasn't expecting to get emotional during this. That essentially is how I got into modeling and the moments in my life that led me into modeling. And I guess one of the points I really wanted to make in this is that a door closing in your life means another door is opening to something better, as long as you yourself are open to it. It can definitely be a really hard thing to accept or even think about, or think that anything better is going to happen from this horrible thing happening to you. You just have to be open to good coming into your life. It's that law of attraction. A door closes so a door can open. Something bad happens to teach you something, to prepare you for something better. I strongly believe that, just from all of these things that have happened in my life. If it was something that I could have told 13-year-old me or 16-year-old me or even 18-year-old me, I wish that I could have gone back and told myself. So I'm telling that to all of you guys who maybe are that young or maybe need that and are older than me. If it's something that you need, please remember that when you are feeling down about whatever you're feeling down about, because we all feel down. We're human. That's what happens. Oh, all right, I have to pull myself together now. That is my story on how I got started modeling. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. It's kind of hard for me to do in the end there. I don't know why, but leave me a comment below and I'll try to get back to as many of you guys as I can, and please subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in my next video.